Có đi chạy xuống đi, anh đó. Ôm anh ấy, ôm anh ấy. Quay người lại. Bật người xuống, nhảy thẳng nước. Cho thân trước. Nhanh lên đây. Nhanh lên, đẩy ra. Đẩy xuống. Mọi người kéo lên này. Ui, tay quá. Lăn xuống, về bên kia. Về bên kia. Ngồi hết.
Heat rising. Super Typhoon Yuen, also called Fung-wong, unleashed unbelievable destruction as it crashed into the Philippines. With monstrous winds, unforgiving rain, and powerful storm surges, the cyclone pounded vast regions of Luzon, turning ordinary towns into disaster zones within hours. The storm gained strength at lightning speed over the overheated Pacific Ocean. Meteorologists watched in alarm as Yuen's circulation tightened, its eye becoming sharper and more defined, clear signs that a catastrophic landfall was on the way. By the time it reached land, wind speeds had soared beyond 185 kilometers per hour, tearing through everything in its path. Authorities immediately raised the highest emergency alerts. Warnings of deadly flooding, giant waves above 3 meters, and major landslides triggered urgent evacuations across coastal areas and vulnerable provinces. More than 1 million residents were forced to evacuate. Families crowded into emergency shelters, schools, gymnasiums, churches, while soldiers, police units, and rescue teams raced to move trapped civilians out of danger. In many provinces, the situation deteriorated quickly. Unstoppable rainfall swallowed entire neighborhoods, isolating villages, and wiping out crops. Rivers overflowed violently, while residents climbed onto rooftops as water surged into their homes. Massive power failures spread across Luzon and Baikal. Electrical poles were uprooted, communication networks collapsed, and entire cities were plunged into darkness. Hospitals relied on backup generators, struggling to care for the injured and the displaced. Transportation came to a standstill. Domestic and international flights were halted, ferries were canceled, and thousands of travelers were stranded as the typhoon shut down sea and air routes. Satellite data revealed how enormous Yuen truly was. The storm stretched nearly 1,400 kilometers wide, meaning even regions far from the landfall zone, northern Luzon and parts of the Visayas, were pummeled by strong winds and relentless rain. Coastal communities in Quezon and Baikal faced terrifying scenes as towering waves smashed through seawalls and destroyed fishing villages. Witnesses described water as tall as coconut trees, sweeping away homes in seconds. Disaster response units were deployed nationwide. Schools and workplaces were suspended, emergency lines were overwhelmed, and rescue teams continued their work despite dangerous conditions. As night approached, Yuen became even more violent. Roofs were ripped away, trees uprooted, roads turned into raging rivers. Entire neighborhoods disappeared under muddy floodwaters and storm debris. Foreign embassies issued warnings, urging their citizens to follow Filipino authorities. International aid groups began preparing relief operations, expecting widespread humanitarian needs once the storm moved on. The Philippine Coast Guard carried out critical evacuations in coastal areas. Videos showed trucks filled with children, seniors, and entire families being moved to safety while winds roared and rain battered the vehicles. For many, Yuen revived memories of previous destructive typhoons. Communities still recovering from recent storms once again faced the nightmare of losing their homes, farms, and livelihoods. Early reports confirmed at least one fatality and several injuries caused by flying debris. Officials warned that the toll could rise as search and rescue teams reached the hardest hit zones. Heat rising, and the storm's wrath rising with it.
May mga lamisa, ti. Bangko, lamisa. Kuha to lamisa, ti. Lamisa. Dami. Bangko. Ilan yung nag-imaw? Dili, uy. Ilo. May washing. Awa na. Wala, mga bangko. Aparato. Joke.